almost 3,500 years ago, an unknown artist or artists created this fresco.
It was found at the central court of the Palace of Knossos, located on the island of Crete.
During this era, the ancient Bronze Age, Crete was populated by Minoan civilization, which eventually merged into the Mycenaean civilization of ancient Greece.
Actually, the name Minoan is derived from the mythical King Minos. Sir Arthur Evans, the archaeologist who rediscovered the Minoans, thought the site of Knossos held the labyrinth where the half-man, half-bull Minotaur was kept. Since Minoan writing, Linear A, remains undeciphered, most of what we know about their culture comes from interpretations of their works of art.
And this bull-leaping fresco is an important one. It is currently held in the Herculean Archaeological Museum, which calls it the Bull Leapers fresco.
It's also known as the bull-leaping fresco or the Toreador fresco.
As you can see, there's a lot of damage to the fresco.
Yes, actually, archaeologists found it as fragments in the rubble of the court of Knossos.
And the reason why it was fragments is probably due to the past renovations to the palace.
The image we see now is a reconstruction, so we can get a sense of what the original painting might have been like. It's a composite of 7 panels, and is around 31 inches tall and 41 inches long.
Actually, when I first saw it, I didn't even realize it was a fresco. It just looked like a mosaic because of the fragments.
It's actually a fresco, a buon fresco, which is Italian for true fresco. You can see how the colors aren't just on the surface of the fragments, but have actually been absorbed into them. This is because the artist applied paint to the stucco wall while it was still wet, unlike with fresco secco, where paint is applied to already dry plaster. In buon fresco, pigment is mixed with room temperature water and applied to a layer of fresh, wet plaster called intonico.
Due to the chemical makeup of the plaster, a binder isn't needed. The pigment sinks into the intonico, and after a few hours, the plaster reacts with the air and undergoes a chemical reaction called carbonatation that fixes the pigment particles into the plaster, making the painting become part of the wall.
This type of fresco technique requires amazing speed and skill. Since the plaster dries quickly, the artist would only have around 7 to 9 hours to paint. If they made a mistake, the artist would have to start all over again or fix the mistake later with secco painting on top of the buon fresco. But it pays off. Buon fresco is much more durable than secco fresco, since the paint can't flake off over time.
Here we see a freeze frame of a scene of action, which shows each stage of the bull leaping event. On the left, a figure grabs the bull's horns to prepare to leap. In the middle, a figure is shown upside down, mid-leap. On the right, a figure faces the bull with their arms out as if it has just landed. The scene is framed with bands of abstract patterns which consist of blue, white, red, and yellow.
The bull charges forward in a flying leap with its feet off the ground. We can really feel the athletic movement in the curved contours of the figures and the S-curves of the bull's body and tail.
Yeah, the figure which is in the back of the bull looks more static than others. I can feel the tension of the action from the figure in the middle. The interesting thing is there's no certain ground in the painting and the background is sky blue, so they look like floating in the sky, which gives a sense of celestial. By the way, do you have any ideas about the figure's gender?
They look quite androgynous, but the Minoans likely followed Egyptian color conventions, which gives us an idea of what their genders might be. The figures to the left and right of the bull are ambiguous. Their skin is white, which is associated with females in Egyptian color convention. However, both figures wear loincloths, which indicates masculinity. Their long, curly hairstyle is associated with both youthful males and females. The center vaulter is painted brown, which indicates masculinity in Egyptian conventions, and is wearing a loincloth, which means he is likely male.
We don't know exactly what the bull leaping painting represents, but the resources, effort, and space expended to create the fresco indicates the importance of bull leaping to the Minoan culture.
Our impression of bull leaping is based solely on interpretations of surviving Minoan art, most famously this bull leaping fresco, but also terracotta statues, stone seals, and sarcophagi.
The fact that there are so many representations of bull leaping in Minoan art leads many to believe that it was part of ritual, a theory bolstered by the long-standing tradition of bull worship in many Bronze Age cultures, including Anatolia, Mesopotamia, and Egypt.